On my Substack, I have a chat window. Like if you go to dearparents.substack.com and click on the chat button, you can find this week's Ask Me Anything. This question comes from Stephanie. What are your newborn baby general rules for casual visitors? And specifically, when do you let casual visitors start coming? And if you do, let their children visit too. Mother is planning on coming. New baby's in June. She lives near a measles outbreak. I've asked her to get her immunity checked. Any other things that you would recommend? Quarantine length depending on immunity. Okay, this is a common question. And especially in the past 5 or 6 years, it's become a big hot button issue around vaccines, around doing things to protect from illness, all those sorts of things. I'm going to try and stay out of that weeds as like my first live question. I don't know why I picked this one. In general, first and foremost, the biggest principle is if you're sick, don't visit a brand new baby. If you are sick, if you are in the throes of fever or just started a cough or runny nose, or you had a really significant exposure that you're aware of, just wait a couple days to go see the baby. It's nice to go see babies, but we also don't want them to get sick. And the reason that we don't want to get them sick, there's really 2 reasons. One, nobody wants a sick baby, especially when they're first born. Their immune system is not as robust as you and I's immune system. And so they're more likely to get an infection and for it to turn into a serious bacterial infection. So aside from not wanting to get your child, your grandchild, your neighbor's friend, whatever, sick, the other reason is because a newborn fever requires a hospital stay. A newborn fever requires a hospital stay. And so if your toddler is sniffly and coughing and they still go on a play date or something along those lines and they get a fever, they're down for a couple of days with a runny nose or cough or those sorts of things. But a newborn under 28 days of age, if they have a fever of 100.4 or greater taken rectally, that is a trip to the ER. That is a blood culture, a urine culture, which involves a catheter, a spinal culture, like a spinal fluid culture where we put them on their back and we do a lumbar puncture to check their cerebrospinal fluid for infection. And it's at least 24, 48-hour hospitalization to make sure that there isn't a serious bacterial infection that we're missing. And the reason for that, to the same point, is that their immune system isn't well developed. And also, we know that they don't always tell us in all the different ways that they are sick. And so we have to watch them really closely to make sure that things don't go downhill too quickly. Now, so if you're sick, stay away. Don't get a fever in the first 28 days. Don't give a baby a fever. When it comes to the parents, like how do we advocate for our child while also getting to see close relatives and people that are important to us? I would prioritize close family first. Yes, it's nice if all the neighbors can parade their kids over to see this new baby and it's cute and all those sorts of things. But if we're trying to avoid illnesses, we're going to focus on our close family members first so that they can get access and we don't have to stay huddled up in a little bubble for a month. But we're not exposing them to every little germ that can come and go, because if we have a bunch of kids, we know that several of them have runny noses and one might be working their way towards a runny nose, and it just increases the likelihood that they're going to get an infection. And when I tell parents like what to do is have close relatives that aren't sick that want to see baby, come and see baby. Have them wash their hands. Don't kiss baby, because we know, and I think this is something that you could probably just send out as like a general text message to everyone. Hey, excited to have you come see baby. Our pediatrician wanted to remind us, don't kiss the baby. There is this, adults get cold sores, not a big deal for them. But babies that are exposed to the virus that causes cold sores, it can cause fever and they can get hospitalized. It can also cause changes in their brain and big issues. So don't kiss baby when you come visit baby. And so talking through with parents, grandparents, loved ones, that sort of information is just helpful as a starting place. So then you don't have to be living in fear that they're going to kiss the baby, because who doesn't like to kiss babies? And so that is one of the things that I tell them. And then when it comes to the seasonality, summer is a much nicer time to have relatives come and see baby. It's just hard to plan your baby around the seasons. When are they going to arrive and those sorts of things? So I typically just say, if you're sick, don't come visit baby. Wash your hands, reserve it for close relatives. And then after the first month, and especially after they get their first round of immunizations at 2 months, I say open it up and enjoy life a lot more. You can take your baby out. You can go visit people. You can have people come visit, try and have them wash their hands, all of those sorts of things. 2 really specific scenarios, and then I got to go pick up my kids from school. One is the measles outbreak. Now, if you're vaccinated against measles, then you are very likely not to contract measles and not to spread it. In this measles outbreak that we're dealing with now, over 93% of those that are infected were unvaccinated. And so if, say, in this specific circumstance with the mom wondering about her baby, or the mom wondering about her mom, if she knows that she got the measles vaccine, and isn't currently sick and wasn't around somebody yesterday that had measles, I think it's fine to just make sure we're doing what we can and we don't have to have their go get blood drawn or those sorts of things. That's a very much your mileage may vary, your level of anxiety or worry, their exposures. Those things all play a role in that decision complex when it comes to that. So measles is strictly something essentially in the United States of the unvaccinated. Now, this baby obviously can't get vaccinated, so we don't want baby to be around other unvaccinated children that were recently exposed to measles. But outside of that, I don't think it's a big thing to worry about. And then RSV. RSV is actually still going around. It's March 30th, and RSV is still going around right now. They actually extended the RSV season, which they don't typically do because RSV is still going around right now. And so what that means is if your baby is born during RSV season, it's good for them to get the RSV monoclonal antibodies if you did not get the RSV vaccine during pregnancy. The RSV monoclonal antibodies are not a vaccine, but they are a antibody treatment that's given as a shot. So if for some parents it feels like it's a vaccine because it's a shot, but it's actually just the antibodies themselves. They circulate around protecting from RSV. When we think about a traditional vaccine, we think about you give the dead virus or the bacterial particles, and then your body mounts an immune response. Sometimes you get fever, sometimes you be achy, and after 7 to 10 days, then you have some immunity starting to build up to that specific virus or bacteria. In this case, the RSV antibodies are actually what is the antibodies that your body would create naturally if given the vaccine, but they're the actual antibodies. They circulate around, they watch for RSV, they attack RSV, reduces the risk of hospitalization by something like 80, 90% for babies that are born and get that during their first RSV season. And so we recommend it. That is another layer of protection and a layer of peace of mind of, okay, my baby was born, they got the RSV antibodies. At least I don't have to worry about RSV, which is the number one cause of hospitalization in children in their first year of life. So, recapping, meandered a little bit. If you're sick, stay away. Prioritize close relatives. Make sure they're not sick. Have them wash their hands and don't kiss baby. But it is important, I know, and it is important for us and for parents to have loved ones get to see and experience the joy of having a new baby. So I think there's a way to do it safely without completely quarantining yourself off and also not taking them like to visit a daycare as a 1-week-old. You wouldn't do that. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that gives you some peace of mind. Comment below, comment somewhere about how this live experience went. If it was helpful, if you liked it. I haven't done it before, but I know that I'm broadcasting to like Substack, YouTube, Instagram, maybe even LinkedIn. Not sure how I go there. But I would love to hear your feedback on how it is helpful. And if you have other questions, go to dearparents.substack.com, click under chat, ask your question.